different perspectives.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to one of our episodes of From Different Perspectives. I'm Anthony Holmes.
And I'm Michelle Holmes.
And today, we're going to have a real conversation with y'all. Topic today is navigating a relationship space after being independent or single for a long time.
And the changes and the obstacles that come with that.
Right. So let's jump right into it. So before we met, how long were you single? Or better yet, how was relationships prior to me?
Relationships prior to you. So I was alone for quite a while, right? And I had, a telephone relationship. But outside of that, it was just me and the kids. Me just building, healing, growing, and navigating life alone.
For me, I was married young, and I definitely wasn't ready for it. I was in the military. I didn't know what I wanted. And after that ended, I dated. I was single. I definitely was manipulative, just immature, and just detrimental to myself as well as the individuals around me. So as I got older and I met Michelle, I really understood how to navigate, or was trying to understand how to navigate a relationship space. And man, it comes with a lot of self-sacrifice.
So what do you feel you had to self-sacrifice?
I was very one-minded, focused on what I wanted. It was either my way or no way. And if it was definitely no compromising whatsoever on my part. I expected compromise from my partner, but not from me. What about you?
So I was married for 9 years. So after that, I took that time to really heal and really just focus on the betterment for me, betterment of my kids. So when I met Anthony, I already had a vision in mind, right? I knew exactly I didn't know exactly, but I had an idea of how life should be, what it should look like, and what it should consist of. And it was like, it's either I'm going to find that person that kind of fits that picture, or I'm just going to rock out being single and just live life the way I was living life. And then here comes Anthony. And he was very one-sided. So then I was like, okay, this ain't going to be as easy as I thought it was. And it definitely was some challenges because I had to learn how to communicate. I had to learn how to be able to express. And through that also had to give him grace while he had to unlearn toxic behavior.
Man, and when I say toxic, I was the epitome of toxic. I coming into this, I think I came in how I always did. I was just like, okay, she's pretty. What's up, right? And prior to her, I was definitely on a tormented path. I was meeting people, trying to figure out what I wanted, and if it was against what I wanted, I would just go and leave, or I would do something to create a rift. But when it came to Michelle, I think I pushed, of course, like I always did. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. But it was coming to the realization is like, is this how I want to continue to live my life? And is this the person that I want to live life with, right? So it came with a lot of accountability and really looking myself in the mirror and realizing that I ain't the gift that God placed on this earth that I thought I was, right? I was definitely corrupted in a sense. I did a lot of wrong. So I really had to work on rewiring and reprogramming my thought process to have a healthy relationship. Um, and we still have our ups and downs, but we're navigating it, and we're working better on communication, and that is something that I lacked. Um,
We
if
both lacked.
and if I didn't like something, I'm not finna talk no more. I'm out. What about you?
Well, we both lacked communication issues. Usually I used to be like, one strike, two strike, you're out, right? Fool me once, was it fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me type of
Right,
thing.
right,
So
right.
I didn't I was in the era of not entertaining. I was in the era of dating with intentions. So as soon as I felt like there was no intentions for future growth, there was no foundation, what am I doing? Right? However, there was something about Anthony that even before we talked, I could feel this man walk through the door before he walked through the door, right? So it was just like, I knew that, like, this was my person. Like, he is my person, absolutely, without a doubt. But it was just like, if we can't get this in order, what are we going to do? So it came to the point where I had to tell him, like, we have to be intentional. Like, it's either we're gonna be intentional about what we're doing and how we're doing this, or we're not gonna do it at all. And I don't know who hit him over his head, but all of a sudden it was just like ding ding ding.
Right.
I'm intentional.
So, and it comes down to the matter of this is like, if you're gonna do it or if you want to do it, you're gonna do it, right? So, a lot of times prior, I would be in a situation and I never thought of the other person. I always thought of what I wanted, right? So this is where it comes to navigating that space in different perspectives, right? So in my perspective, it was always about me. So coming into something intentional and wanting to be intentional, you have to drop that individual mindset and really start thinking about y'all as a whole, right? So things that I do, I consider how she will feel in the sense of it. So if I move about and I go, say, as a personal trainer, I speak to a female client or I speak to a female in the gym, I make sure that that conversation is of substance of what it's about. I never have, I never leave that window of, oh well, maybe this is it, because again, you want to be intentional. And as a man, a lot of times, I, speaking from my experience, I fall victim to flirtation. But you gotta minimize that when you're trying to be intentional, because you have to think about how an individual who is an emotional being will feel about that. Before, I never thought of that. Like, I didn't care. Like, I was like, oh, that was nothing, or you thinking too much of it. But working through understanding how she thinks changes my one-sided perspective on things.
And it took us a second to get there, because I literally had to be like, where is the us in this? Where is the we in this? What is this doing for our future? And, at first he was like, it's me. Like, and so I'm just like, okay. But it took us a second. And then, it switched and it became a us, a our. And from there, I feel like our conversations even got better, because there was, even, again, we have different perspectives, and I may see things one way, he may see things another way, but there's a level of understanding, and we're able to even if we disagree, we learn to understand. And I feel like that helps us not only grow a deeper bond and become closer, but to receive a better understanding of each other.
And that's the big thing right there. Being able to disagree and still have respect for each other, right? We have conversations, and it's never to attack one another. If she doesn't appreciate or doesn't like something, she speaks on it. And what I do, I sit back, I listen, I understand her point, and then I explain what I meant by said action, right? And if she still doesn't agree, she still doesn't agree. I still have my perspective of it, but we now have a foundation of what that instant was, right? But before that, I'm not explaining myself to nobody. I did what I did. Either you take it or you don't, right? And it doesn't work that way, right? So coming into a relationship that you want to be healthy, like you have the intention for it to be healthy, you have to look at everything. And like I said, we're still learning because this is still fresh. We haven't experienced everything there is to experience, right? So as it comes, we are building that foundation to understand conversation, understanding, hey, we don't think alike, right? And
it's okay that
exactly.
We don't think alike. We don't have to think alike.
Right. And it's okay, right? Like she said. And it's also, it allows you to put that pride to the side and know that, hey, your way is not always the best way or the only way. And there's times that I bring situations to her and then she'll be like, well, why did you think it like that and not like this? And the old me would be like, you tripping. I'm finna do it this way
because
anyway.
I want to.
Exactly. Right. But now it's like, okay, I might not agree with how you doing it because I feel like you going around the block 10 times to get here, but I can see why you would do that, right? And then we come to a common ground. So navigating a new space, like a healthy relationship when you have been an individual so long, is very difficult. It's very tough.
Set in your ways for so long.
Right.
I think that was the biggest thing. Like for you, you were setting your ways for so long, and it was learning to kind of let go of that and allow yourself to evolve.
Right.
And for me, it was just like having the patience and the grace.
Right.
And just like, okay, is he gonna get it together? Like, you know, like, are we gonna do this or are we not gonna do this?
Right.
Like, where are we in this?
Right.
Outside of the changing your mind frame and your way of thinking, what else do you feel has changed?
A lot. I never well, I won't say I never understood. I didn't care. I understand more of hurt that I cause, right? And I actually take action behind that, right? So if I did something that offended, hurt, ashamed Michelle, like before I never cared. Like I'm like, man, get over it. But now I sit down and I understand, like, okay, this action has created this feel for you. All right, explain to me why you felt that way. And now I sit back and I actually receive that information, even if it's criticism, even if it's her like upset, you did this wrong, you did that. I take that. Before I was shut down, I'm like, bro, I'm out. You ain't finna talk to me all kind of way. But being able to sit that pride aside, like I was a very prideful individual, right? I was very egotistical. So trying to be into a healthy relationship, that is null and void. You can't. It's like, it's impossible. You can't be self-centered and want to be in a positive and healthy relationship. Now that's from my perspective, right? So that's something else that I've changed. The lack of care for others' feelings. Because I've always said that, man. I don't operate on my feelings. Like, there's no such thing as emotional reasoning, right? So that's how I always process. I always move that way, and I think that's why, right?
And you used to be like, feelings are just feelings. They don't mean anything.
Right.
Is a big thing that he used to say.
Right. Because I think like, it doesn't matter what I'm going through, I still have a mission to accomplish, right? And I took that literally into everything. And in a relationship space, you have to allow your partner to be emotional. And as men, we got to learn how to express our emotions, because I ain't having it. I've been in places where I couldn't express my emotions, where it would be considered, you'll be considered weak, or you become prey, right? So I never showed that. And then I took that into relationships, and it always fumbled. It always crumbled because I'm too harsh. I'm like, man, bro, like, man, suck that up, no matter what the situation may have been. And now I'm learning, like, you can't move like that in that space, right? Because this is a space where you're allowing someone else to be vulnerable to you, and you be vulnerable to them. And if you don't offer that, then you create this distance. And yeah, that's something I'm still working on, right? So I'm still like, bro, I ain't soft. I ain't doing all that. But I understand now. And I know that's something that I gotta work on. You know what I'm
saying? There's a difference between being soft and being vulnerable with your partner, FYI. But he is navigating those waters, and you're doing pretty good, if I may say so myself.
Lord have mercy.
I'm proud of you. I think for me, my adjustment between being single and now being married is allowing you to do. So outside of my father, I've never been able to depend on any man. Like, my dad's the only one. You know, that's it. And so Anthony came into my world and was like, well, I'm the man of the household, and I take care of this, that, and this. And, you know,
boy.
And for me, that was a struggle, right? Even though I was married in my 20s, I was still the head of household. I still took care of home. I still paid the bills. I still made sure there was food on the table. I made sure the water was cut on and stayed on and all of that. So just really putting that trust, because, you know, I come with a package, right? It's not just me, it's me and my kids. And so it's just like, I'm gonna allow you to do for me and my babies? What? And it's still a little bit of an adjustment. You know, I'm still getting used to it. But I feel like I'm adjusting well. What do you think?
Yeah. Nah, I'm kidding. But yeah, that was a task. That was a serious task. But she's becoming more of, how do I put it?
A dependent.
I won't say dependent, right? I would say she's relinquishing that power a lot more than beforehand, right? It was always a battle with her, like, hey, I got this. Well, you know, I can do this too. I was like, I don't care if you can, but cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I operate here. And that's another thing. Having two individuals who's always been head of household.
And two, and he hates when I say it, alpha female.
Facts.
Like he absolutely hates that phrase.
I hate that phrase, and I hate alpha male phrase.
But
like,
I just feel like we were two alphas. Like we're in charge in both of our worlds. We are in control of everything in our world, and so it's just like I had to step to the side, and it was like, okay, I guess you can be in charge here, and I'll just provide my advice and help you navigate through it.
Again, that's like that term, right? Like alpha this, alpha that. I just feel like it's just something for someone to give themselves a pat on the back for being an adult, right? Like we're being an adult, we're taking care of what we're supposed to take care. As a man, like you do what you have to do in the sense of your capabilities, right? I don't feel like, oh, because you're this macho guy, quote unquote, you're more superior than this guy. No, you just operate differently. And the same for a female. Like if you're a Fortune 500 CEO or you work at Waffle House, like you're still a woman taking care of the business. Like this whole title of like, oh, I'm alpha, that's so lame to me. But that's just again my perspective. Like if you have to tell yourself or convince yourself that you're superior than others, 9 times out of 10 you're not. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I look at it. But again, it's just like we both shouldered the load of taking care of home, right? And when we came together, she was always on go mode on, well, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. I'm like, I got that. Well, no, still like, but the wheels are churning. And I liked it, but I was just like, you ain't gotta do that, right? And I think that was the biggest like I won't even say it was a battle. It was just like the biggest mental stressor or like kind of confrontation that we had, is because you're trying to tell someone to turn that off, and it's hard, right? And then you have to allow them to see that it's covered before they can fully relinquish it, right?
That it's safe to do so.
Right.
And I think that's like the biggest thing that I was like preaching for the first year of our relationship. It was like, okay, you're asking me to do these things or to be this way, and for me to even allow myself to get into that space, you have to let me feel safe.
Right.
I have to feel secure and safe in what we're doing to be able to be like, okay, I can let go of my strings and kind of pass them over to you. And to be honest, that wasn't until this year. So we went a whole year kind of like butting heads, and he was like, well, this is, you can, if you either gonna do it by yourself or you gonna let me help. And I was like, well, I've been doing it by myself this long. Like, you gotta make me feel safe. Like, I gotta have a safety net. I have to feel like, okay, it's okay for me to let this guard down. It's okay for me just to be the mom, the wife, the business owner, but yet not feel like I have to handle every financial aspect and everything.
And as a man, like, navigating that space is like, with me, like, I took it as disrespect, as more of like, then why are you dealing with me if you don't trust me, right? Why are you dealing with me if you don't see that I can handle this, right? And that was a conversation we had to have, and I had to really like get out of my mind in the way that I think, right? Because I always handle it, right? Like, I worked since I was 16. Like, oh, I got this. and to have the pushback of like, I'm always used to like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But it was just like, bro, like you tripping. So I had to really, we had to get to the baseline of really what it was with her, right? Like, hey, why is it like this? Why is it so difficult, right? So that was a tough like 2 months. That was a conversation that lasted over and over and over again.
That one conversation and the different perspectives that we had on that, it lasted 2 to 3 months.
Right.
And it took us to truly be able to we had to go to therapy. And we had to go to therapy. We had to be able to sit and truly dissect. Shout out to our therapist, but we had to truly dissect that in sections for him to understand where I was coming from, and then for me to finally be like, okay, I think it's safe here.
Right.
Like, okay, I think I'm good. I think I can slowly start letting down this wall.
Right. And dealing with somebody who processes differently than you, right? Like, our thought processes and the way that we deal with situations are polar opposites, right? Like, I operate well in chaos, and I operate functionally in chaos, right? But what I've noticed with her is that it needs to be sectioned off. I can deal with it, but I need to process this. I need to deal with this, and then I need to process this. And I'm just like, bruh, like...
I can operate in a quarter of chaos, if that makes sense. So I can do a little bit chaos, but in the midst of the chaos, give me a moment to process. What's going on? Where we at? What's happening? How am I feeling? And okay, now let me reevaluate this and we can go forward. I definitely have to process things. And I think also just my mind, it goes. It goes. So I may not be talking, and he already knows. If I'm sitting there and I'm having a deep stare and it looks like I'm in another universe, I'm in my mind. I'm cycling through all my thoughts and just trying to process things. And it could be things from yesterday, it could be things from a year ago. Like, I'm just trying to process things always. And so it's like, okay, we can have the chaos, but meet me in the middle and let's process this. Okay, now we can go back to the chaos. And in my, like, that's just, I don't know how to explain it.
And it's like, I'm very observant, right? Like, I think, like, prior to the military, I was very observant, right? But the military created something completely different, like, thought process wise. So when I'm navigating life, I've kind of perfected compartmentalization, right? I can compartmentalize this, keep going. Compartmentalize this, keep going, right? And that can be a gift or a curse, you know what I'm saying? Because if you keep doing that, and then that one straw can just be that ultimate, like, exactly, right? Again, life experience. But being able to process, I've noticed, like, when she processes, it never boils over, right? So I'm learning from her.
We're learning from each other.
And I battle with my thought process is good in some things, and then her thought process is great in some things. So it's just like being able as a man to allow others to be right. I hate it.
Ooh.
I hate letting people be right.
I don't think it's necessarily being right. I think it's just having different perspectives.
Well, when I mean right, I mean like...
my perspective might be the way to go in that scenario, right, and your perspective might be the way to go in another scenario. Right. It's just finding out what perspective to go with. At the end of the day, it's not a right or a wrong way. It's, again, different avenues to get to the same destination, but which avenue are we going? this perspective, either way, we go in the same place.
Right. So it's definitely a process. But y'all tell us what y'all think. Navigating new spaces, whether relationship, friendship, even revisiting spaces that you've left for a while. Give us your perspective. See how you feel. Tell us how you feel. Drop it in the chat.
And what's your perspective?
Peace.
Different perspectives. One conversation.